And I wonder how much of the world is mapped out.
It's created, it's flushed out. I would love to answer that question with the actual map up, because
Yes, by all means.
this is the world of Amashik. Amashik is actually a flat world. I wanted to have some fun, and so when you said globe, I was trying to think of something witty to say, but I couldn't. So I'll just tell you it's flat. So that's first things first. So what you're looking at is a world that actually. So I mentioned to you that I took a lot of ideas and kind of mashed them together to come up with this story. So I took a character from an old story that became King Julius, who was one of the major players in Ennead, the Rule of Nine. And then, have you ever heard of a website called World Anvil?
No.
So World Anvil is a website that will allow you to world build, and you can use their free package or their premium package, but basically you can go in and you can create world histories, you can create lore, you can create cultures, you can create religions, anything you want, and it puts it into an organized, desktop friendly setup that will allow you to create stories around said world. So a few years ago, I created a random world, and I started building cultures and religions. I was a philosophy and religion major as an undergrad. So, I always had fun with hypotheticals. And when I found World Anvil, the inner fantasy nerd in me went nuts. And so I built random worlds, random, stories in history. And ultimately, a lot of those make up the bedrock of Amashik. So what you're looking at is a world that looks like it's literally pulling apart. So you imagine, for those of you who can't see, Pangea, right? Pangea, when Pangea it was one supercontinent, and then slowly but surely that started to break up into more supercontinents that eventually made their way over, millennia to look like the world we see today and the map we see today. So I created a world that was not yet where we are in terms of tectonic displacement, but definitely there's some activity. And for those of you who are super nerdy, you might be wondering, well, if it's a globe and the Earth isn't, if it's flat and the Earth's not rotating, why is there tectonic activity? Magic, duh. So it kind of saves me. I haven't figured out a better answer than magic, duh. So bear with me. I'll come up with something along the way. But so this world has, I would say, really 6 major continents. Only one of them plays a part in the first arc, and that's the Republic Kingdom of Athea. So that is the major. So, for if you're actually looking at this, that's the upper right portion of the map. And that's where all the fun stuff in issue 1 is taking place. So that world is really a mix of aesthetically medieval Europe, but politically revolutionary America, revolutionary United States. It's the simplest way to put it. I wanted to have some fun with the cultures that I built. So the Rule of Nine is a very Republican in the original sense of the word, political ideal. And we can talk more about that in a second. But so that's what's going on in the upper right. In the upper left, you have what I refer to as the Dabashi Empire. The Dabashi Empire is what I imagine would have happened if the Byzantine Empire and and a few of the ancient Chinese dynasties had a baby. So aesthetically there, I'm pulling from both of those cultures, and politically and militarily, I'm pulling from them as well. So I wanted to take 2 really well-known and really strong centers of the ancient world, ancient and medieval world. They were staples for a long time. And so I pulled from there. Over to the left, you see, if you're looking, you'll see just what looks like 2 small little pieces of land. That's actually a whole nother continent. We'll get
the page.
Off the page. And those are the United Provinces of Lakmi. So the United Provinces of Lakmi are really the Wild West. that are being held together by some strong men, so that historical idea of a strong man. But there are a few of them. And so that's a place that not many people go, but if you read the sampler, you'll notice that my main character, who's someone else we've been talking about, he's been there, and he's lived to tell the tale. So that's what's going on over there. The floating forest of Guy down at the bottom, that is it's an island, and it's an island that's shrouded in mystery. They refer to it as a floating forest because it is a very lush island. And if you're looking at the map, you can kind of see that it fit in somewhere just below the empire. So the empire is known for having fertile land, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a whole lot of mystery shrouding that. There's a lot of lore there. Some people think it's haunted. Some people think that it's an evil place, and there's a reason for that. Directly next to that, you have the old lands. The old lands are also shrouded in mystery, and people are 100% sure that that's haunted. People go there and are possessed. People go there and wander off and are never seen again. That is a place that people steer clear of. And then the islands of Kavana down at the bottom, that is an amalgam of native cultures from the pre-colonial era. So, I have a mix of some Mesoamerican influences down there. I have some influences of some ancient African civilizations in there. And I wanted to pay homage to cultures that aren't typically represented in epic fantasy by giving these cultures their own dominant kind of place to play within this world. So yes, the world is well thought out. Yes, there's things going on in all of these places. And one of the really cool things that I'm doing is I'm writing one-shot comics, so 12-page comics from various perspectives all over this map. So the first one that will be released with my next Kickstarter, and that takes place in the Empire. And you follow two hunters who end up hunting a mythological creature that they weren't expecting to come across. Let's just put it that way. And so I plan on introducing this world, introducing the cultures, introducing the lore alongside the main narrative with short one-shots. And, if people keep reading them, then maybe one day they'll turn into their own standalone series.
Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed Jeffrey's random today, and I hope you go out and pursue your own random tomorrow. Enjoy.